I'm Gwen. I'm a pediatric occupational therapist with Emerge Pediatric Therapy Carborough. Today we're going to talk about how to support your child during meal times and transitions to the table. And so there's a few ways that you can be supportive of this. It's important to make sure that your child is regulated. So doing some sensory activities to kind of support those systems so that they can maintain attention and regulation at the table, especially if it seems to be a somewhat stressful place for them. So you'll see here we're doing some sensory activities that involve like climbing, crashing, pushing and pulling, just to provide this child with more proprioceptive input in order to settle their nervous system so that then they can have that space to engage with foods. It's important after you do this sensory input that is supportive to your child that you're doing some sort of transitional activity, getting them to the table. So doing animal walks or giving them a job like, let's carry this here, can help kind of bridge that gap in that transition. Once you're to the table, I like to implement a sensory strategy once we're there. So you can kind of see us wiping down the surface, or sometimes we'll pass a plate over and we'll push it down into the table so that it sticks, just to kind of add some of that sensory input as we're working closer to foods. Another way is using tools. So using like fun little utensils like these truck ones, or these jigglers, which are vibration tools to kind of give some sensory input and kind of wake up those muscles so that we can activate them to eat. To be playful, especially as you're working on expanding your child's diet. So being mindful of placing demands, and kids learn best through play. So using a play-based strategy is really supportive to their learning about foods and making it so that they can add them to their diet. So sometimes we'll work farther away and then get closer. So maybe we'll like look at it from a distance and then we'll zoom in and we'll like lean in to get a closer look, or we'll poke it, or we'll smash it, or we'll get it with a tool. So thinking of how you can get their engagement without giving them like a direct directive. So like touch it. So instead of doing that, you could be like, oh, the fork's gonna scoop it, or we're gonna push it all the way over there with these dump truck forks, or ooh, smash, look at it go, and kind of like drawing attention that way and making notice of what your child is doing in those moments. If they're starting to pull away or get more wiggly, that's just showing us that we're pushing too hard, so we have to reel it back in a little bit and kind of work from there. So if we touched it and they're getting really wiggly, then maybe we will kind of pull back and we'll use like a longer tool, like a fork, to move it around and see how their body responds to that. If they get really wiggly, we can always add in another sensory strategy like, let's wipe this off our plate, or let's do like a really big push with our hands into my hands, or something like that. Maybe you'll give like a squish to their feet. Maybe they'll push their feet into their step stool. It's important to use your child's preferred play scheme. So if your kid really likes trucks, we're gonna lean into that, and we're going to, maybe we'll make a wheel out of, I don't know, like a piece of carrot and a pretzel rod, or and then it'll roll around, or we'll zoom things around, or we'll add in car noises to like movements and engagements with foods. If your kid really likes music, you can turn things into whistles and get them closer to your mouth, because then you're getting a little bit of a taste. And then from there, they may decide to eat more of it instead of just putting it there. So I really like to turn things into mustaches or whistles, because that gets some more smell involvement and taste. I have a lot of kids that really like to smash things, so we'll kind of get into that and smash. We always have a towel nearby to wipe off our hands in case we push ourselves a little bit too far and we're not ready for that. So just making sure that we have access to those pieces that can help us re-regulate. So the towel, deep pressure, some ability to wiggle as needed, can be really helpful for increasing engagement at the table. It's also good to use your child's curiosity. So a lot of kids enjoy doing experiments with food. So like, let's see how this one changes visually if we're working in the visual system. If we cover it with, I don't know, like salt, does the texture look different? Or if we dip a little bit in salt, will that change the flavor? Is it good? Is it medium? Or was that like a really big flavor, big taste, big smell? It's also important to allow them access to their preferred foods. So if I am getting a child to engage with something that is a little bit new, like let's say a green bean, maybe we'll investigate it visually. If I see some wiggliness or we're like drawing back, maybe I'll give them a veggie straw if that is the preferred food to snack on, to re-regulate. So then we can snack while visually engaging to kind of create more ability to work past that comfort while also maintaining regulation and access to food.